Okay, so good afternoon to all and welcome to Corporate Finance online classes. This is Dr. Mahesh M. Monjari, Assistant Professor from Department of Management Studies, SDM College of Engineering and Technology, Dharwad. Okay, so dear students, we have already started learning financial management and overview, chapter number 1 from unit 1. So let me share the slides and take a quick look at what we had discussed in the previous class, and let me continue from there. Okay, students, I hope you can see the PowerPoint slides.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, thank you for your response. So I'll take a quick look, not I'll explain in detail. So far this is chapter number 1 from unit 1, financial management and overview. Okay, so far what we have learned is finance and related disciplines. Yes, we have learned scope of financial management. Yes, we have completed. Okay, now we are learning the objectives of financial management. Okay, so before that, I would like to remind you once again the definition of corporate finance or what corporate finance does. Corporate finance is the division of finance that deals with how corporations deal with funding sources, capital structuring, and investment decisions. I already told the meaning of all three. Then corporate finance is primarily concerned with maximizing shareholder value. So this is what exactly we are learning now, objectives of financial management. So corporate finance is primarily concerned with the maximizing shareholder value through long-term and short-term financial planning and the implementation of various strategies. So this is exactly what we are learning, okay, through objectives of financial management. So in the previous class, we learned that there are two alternative approaches to objectives of financial management. So the first one, our first approach is profit maximization, and the second approach is wealth maximization. And I also told you that through an illustration, we are going to prove that the objective of wealth maximization is superior to the objective of profit maximization. Hence, companies make the decisions of investment, financing, and dividend policy in a way which can maximize shareholders' wealth. Okay. So initially we learned what is profit maximization approach and what are the advantages or rationale of selecting profit maximization as an approach in making the investment, financing, and dividend decisions. We also learned about the disadvantages or main technical flaws of profit maximization as an objective. Okay, then yeah, this illustration we already had. How profit maximization approach doesn't take into account the timing of benefits. Okay, so now here I'll continue from here in this illustration. So if the company decides to invest in project A, okay, so it will earn a revenue of 50 lakh rupees in year 1, 100 lakh rupee in year 2, 50 lakh rupee in year 3. Total, okay, benefits by investing in alternative A or project A is 200 lakh rupees. And if the company decides to invest in project B, the alternative project, first year there will not be any earnings. Second year, the company will earn a revenue of 100 lakh rupees, and year 3, third year, they will earn a revenue of 100 lakh rupees. So total benefits are 200 lakh rupees only. So these objectives, what I said, okay, these objectives basically are used as a decision criterion. See here it is mentioned. The objectives provide a framework for optimum financial decision making. Optimum means choosing the best, okay, project which can maximize shareholders' wealth. So now let us see how that decision making criterion is applicable here. So what is the decision? See, company cannot invest in both the projects, alternate A and alternate B. Company has to decide to invest in any one project only. So that is the decision criteria. So now profit maximization, objective 1, if it is used as a decision criterion, then the company should be indifferent whether they invest in project A or project B, because as per the profit maximization approach, both the projects will generate a profit of 200 lakh rupees only. So that is because profit maximization approach doesn't take into account the timing of benefits. Now let us understand what exactly is meant by timing of benefits. Say for example, if the company decides to invest in project A, it will earn a revenue of or benefits of 50 lakh rupees in first year. See, when a company earns, okay, or cash inflows happen in the company, they don't keep that 50 lakh rupees with them in a locker. Okay. So generally companies invest this money, what they receive in every year, whatever cash inflows happen, net cash inflows, companies simply don't keep them, okay, in the locker. They invest them. So let us say the rate of interest is 50% or a general rate of return, okay, available for a company is 10%. So if the company invests, say if this 50 lakh rupees the company is going to receive at the end of the year, remember. So if it invests 50 lakh rupees, okay, in at the beginning of second year, at the end of second year, it is going to earn a revenue of additional 5 lakh rupees. 10% is the rate of return I said, or you can consider 10% as a rate of interest. So then what are the total cash inflows? 50 lakh plus 100 lakh in the second year. At the end of year 2, the company will also earn 10% return on 50 lakh rupees which they have invested. So 10% of 50 lakh is 5 lakh rupees. So the total returns at the end of year 2 are 50 lakh plus 100 lakh, 150 lakh plus 5 lakh rupee return on investment. So 155 lakh rupees. Then, so at the year 2, end of year 2, the company will have total 155 lakh rupees. And again, they are not going to keep the money, they are going to invest it. So if the company invests 155 lakh rupee at the beginning of year 3, at the end of year 3, the company is going to earn another 10% revenue on 155 lakh rupees. So what is the 10% of 155 lakh? Means 1 crore 55 lakhs. Yes, 15. Yeah, say
15.5.
15.5 lakh rupees means 15 lakh 50,000 rupees. Okay. So in addition to this 200 revenue, the company will be able to earn the total revenue for the company will be 200 lakh plus 15 lakh 50,000. It means 215 lakh 50,000 rupees the total revenue if the company invests in project A. It is because the company earns in year 1, okay, and the company could invest it and earn additional rate of return, which is not possible in the case of project B because there are no returns in year 1. Okay, so even if they invest in year 2, okay, sorry, even if they invest 100 lakh rupee in the beginning of year 2, okay, so yeah, this is the beginning of year 2 and beginning of year 1. Okay, so the total interest what they are going to earn is only 10 lakh rupees. So beginning of, sorry, see, I'm sorry, this 100 lakh rupee will be earned at the end of year 2. At the end of year 2. So the company will have only 100 lakh rupee at the beginning of year 3. Okay, so 100 lakh rupee if they invest, okay, in the 10% return giving option. So 10 lakh rupees they will earn. So at the end of year 3. So 200 lakh plus 10 lakh. So the total benefits here will be 2 crore 10 lakh rupees only, whereas in this case it is a 2 crore 15 lakh 50,000 rupees. An additional revenue of 5 lakh 50,000 rupees. See why this happens? Because a rupee earned today is more valuable than a rupee earned tomorrow. Because the rupee earned today can be invested and it can earn an additional return. That is the reason why the value of rupee goes on decreasing over a period of time. So that is why 100 rupee received today is more valuable than 100 rupee you receive after 10 years because you can invest that 100 rupee for next 10 years. And you definitely will earn more than 100 rupees. Okay, so anyway, in chapter 2, we are going to learn more about time value of money. But for the time being, I hope you understand this simple general knowledge. What I explained it in simple way. Okay. Then I'll take your questions after this. The third drawback of profit maximization as an objective in making a decision in choosing the projects is quality of benefits. The term quality here refers to the degree of certainty with which benefits can be expected. So certainty means consistency, guarantee, you can say. Certainty means guarantee. So more certain the expected return, higher is the quality of benefits and vice versa. Okay, the more guaranteed it is, the more certain it is that you are going to earn a return, higher the quality of the benefits. And if there is high uncertainty, if you don't know exactly how much you are going to get the return each year, it means the quality of the benefits is poor. Profit maximization considers only size of benefits. Okay, 200 lakh rupees, 200 lakh rupees. For example, it does not consider the degree of uncertainty of future benefits. Okay, so there is a small illustration here again to make us understand what is the meaning of quality of benefits. Probably the most important technical limitation of profit maximization as an operational objective is that it ignores the quality aspect of benefits associated with the financial course of action. The term quality here refers to the degree of certainty, to what extent your returns are guaranteed, with which benefits can be expected. Okay. So if we consider, if we consider this two different projects again, project A and project B. Okay, so the profit or benefits earned are in rupees crore now this time. So there are three different states of economy. I hope you have learned them in economics. Recession. Okay, let us say the first year or period one is the state of the economy is into recession. Okay, characterized by low demand. If the company invests in a project A, it will earn a revenue of or benefit of 9 crore rupees. And if the company decides to invest in project B during recession, okay, there won't be any returns or benefits. And if the company decides to invest in project A during normal period, okay, normal state of the economy, the company may earn 10 crore rupees from project A. But if the company decides to invest in project B during a normal state of the economy, it will earn the same revenue or benefit 10 crore rupees. And if the company decides to invest in project A during boom, boom is more than the normal demand, where consumers are spending, consumer spending is very high, more than above the normal. So if the company decides to invest in project A or alternate A during boom, okay, it will earn a revenue of 11 crore rupees. And during boom, okay, the period with high demand, okay, if the company decides to invest in project B, see, it will earn a revenue or returns or benefits of 20 crore rupees. So the total benefits from project A and project B are same, 30 crore rupees. So if you consider the profit maximization as objective of financial management, then the company should be indifferent whether they invest in project A or project B, because both the projects are going to give a return of 30 crore rupees only. But that is what one of the major drawback of profit maximization is, it ignores the quality of benefits. Okay, so when we say quality, what is the meaning of quality? Okay, the term quality here refers to the degree of certainty or consistency with which benefits can be expected. So looking at project A, cash inflows, and project B, cash inflows, where there is a more certainty, can you tell? Anybody?
Yes, sir.
Yes, Keshav, correct. Project A, okay, the cash inflows are more certain. Even in recession, okay, the project A would generate, okay, 9 crore rupees. So why it is important? See, think about the working capital required, amount required to purchase raw materials, okay, pay the creditors, okay, pay the wages, rent, electricity, energy, and so on. So see, if your project is not going to generate any revenue, then it will become very difficult for the company to sustain in that year or meet the liabilities in that year. Company will not have any money to invest in current assets in this year if you invest in project B. Okay, so that is how this is proved that profit maximization, okay, ignores the quality of benefits or the degree of certainty with which the benefits can be expected. Okay. So now I'll take your questions, if any, before I move on to the second alternative objective, wealth maximization as an objective of financial management. You can unmute yourself and without any hesitation, you can ask your questions or queries or doubts. Yeah, well, while you think, okay, I'll tell you one more thing. Please remember, now if you don't have any doubts, it happens many a times that when things are explained completely and in a simple way, okay, so you may not have any doubt, but later if you forget, you may have a doubt. So one best way for that is, okay, I am uploading all these live classes are recorded. They're uploaded into YouTube and the link is shared in Google Classroom, each and every class. So you can go to that Google Classroom, okay, and click on that video and you can listen to only that part which you have a question or doubt. Okay, because everything will be explained in detail. Then that will help you clarify your doubts without asking the teacher. But in spite of that also, if you still do not understand and if still you are eager to clarify it, you can call me, okay, after your class hours. Okay, I'll be happy to answer your questions or clarify your doubts. So no questions?
Sir, this is limitation, sir.
Sorry?
Quality of benefits it is a limitation, sir.
Yes, it is a limitation.
Maximization.
It is a limitation of profit maximization. Correct. Technical flaws means drawbacks or disadvantages or limitations. So we cannot use it. We cannot make a good decision which can maximize wealth of the shareholders. According to profit maximization, if we set profit maximization as an objective, so it is indifferent whether the company invests in project A or project B, because as per profit maximization, we consider only those projects which generate a higher profit. So here both the projects generate same profit. So you cannot make the proper decision. But let us see, when we consider wealth maximization as an objective, how we make the optimum decision which maximizes shareholders' wealth. Okay. So now let me move on to the second alternative. I'd like to go back to this slide. So remember, we are learning the objectives of financial management. The objectives provide a framework for optimum financial decision making. So what we saw in the previous illustration, whether the company should invest in project A or project B, how, okay, that decision can be made using these objectives. And we learned that profit maximization as an objective, okay, is not a good approach, because it doesn't take into account neither the timing of benefits nor the quality of benefits. Benefits here are cash inflows or returns, or profit also you can consider. Now we are going to learn the second alternative approach, wealth maximization as a objective of financial management. Let us see. So wealth maximization is an objective of financial management. It is based on the concept of cash flows generated by the decision rather than accounting profit. So we are talking about financial management, not accounting principles here. So measuring benefits in terms of cash flows avoids the ambiguity associated with accounting profits. In profit maximization approach, we don't know whether it is short-term profit or long-term profit. We don't know whether it is the before tax profit or after tax profit. We don't know. It is vague. It is not clear. But when we consider wealth maximization as an objective, okay, it is based on the concept of cash flows. You see, these are the cash flows. 9 crore, 10 crore, 11 crore. Okay, these are the cash flows. Okay, so measuring benefits in terms of cash flows avoids the ambiguity. Okay, so you choose that project which gives you maximum cash inflows or maximum return. Okay, associated with accounting profit. Then it considers both quantity and quality dimensions of the benefits. It means it takes into account the concept of time value of money as well as the degree of certainty with which the cash inflows or returns can be expected. Okay. It also incorporates the time value of money. The time value of a stream of cash flows. I repeat again. See, these are the cash inflows. 9 crore in year 1, 10 crore in year 2, 11 crore in year 3. These are nothing but the stream of cash flows. Okay, wealth maximization objective incorporates the time value of money. Means it takes into account the timing of benefits. The time value of a stream of cash flows is calculated by discounting its elements back to the present at a capitalization or discount rate that reflects both time and risk. See, I will not explain here. Okay, it is more complicated actually, but I'll make it simple in chapter number 2. Okay, begins is on entire time value of money. So just for the timing, you consider that wealth maximization approach incorporates the timing of benefits. Okay. So the time value of a stream of cash flows is calculated by discounting its elements back to the present at a discount rate that reflects both time and risk. See, we are going to do this. We are going to discount the future cash inflows to the present using a discount rate. Okay, in chapter number 2, as well as okay in unit number 3. Okay, capital budgeting techniques as well as cost of capital. So we're going to solve numericals on this actually. So for the timing, you just understand that wealth maximization approach incorporates the time value of money concept. So since wealth maximization objective considers timing of benefits as well as quality of benefits, wealth maximization approach is considered as superior to profit maximization. Okay, and how wealth maximization is okay objective considers timing of benefits and quality of benefits. Both we are going to learn in chapter number 2, unit number 2 and unit number 3. Okay, so for the timing, you just understand that wealth maximization considers timing of benefits as well as the quality of benefits. So it is considered as superior to profit maximization. So most of the professional organizations, Fortune 500, Fortune 2000 companies or any professional organization manages their financial affairs by way of setting wealth maximization as an objective, which is actually used as a decision-making criterion. So whether to invest in project A or project B, okay, should be made on the basis of which project will increase, which project will maximize wealth of the shareholders. So in this case, definitely yes, by using wealth maximization as an objective, we can understand that since project A's cash inflows or stream of cash flows are more certain, are more consistent, so company should choose project A. Okay, so which maximizes shareholders' wealth. As well as if we use wealth maximization as an objective to choose between project A or project B, company should choose project A. Okay, as project A generates a revenue of 50 lakh rupees in year 1, which can be invested back at the beginning of year 2, and the company can earn additional revenue over 200 lakh rupees if they invest in project A. So that is the reason why project A maximizes shareholders' value compared to project B. Project B generates a total revenue of only 2 crore 10 lakh rupees, whereas with investment we are talking 2 crore 10 lakh rupees, whereas project A generates a total revenue or total benefit of 2 crore 15 lakh 50,000 rupees. Okay, so this what I explained, both are considering wealth maximization as an objective of financial management. Once again, if you have any queries. This is not left at this stage. We are going to learn this by solving numerical problems. How wealth maximization approach considers timing of benefits and quality of benefits. Anybody, any questions, any doubts? So I hope, I'm sure that, okay, so you're able to understand. Even if you don't understand, you can watch back the that part of the video where you have some doubt, or you can call me anytime. Okay. Yeah. So this is the last part of the last topic in the chapter, organization of finance function. Okay. It means organization structure of finance department in a company. I repeat, what you are looking at is organization of financial management function, means organization structure of finance department in the company. Okay, so definitely any department or the entire organization structure topped by board of directors who are elected. Okay, then they will have a managing director or a chairman. Okay, then below chairman, okay, there will be vice president finance. See, there are three different designations. Please listen. Vice president finance, or director finance, or chief finance officer, CFO. CFO is in fact a more popular term. So vice president finance, director finance, or chief finance officer at this level. Okay, who will be reporting to the chairman or managing director. And see, the CFO will have two departments. One is treasury and another is controller. Okay, so who is the treasurer, who is the controller, and who is the CFO, and what are the duties? In brief, we'll see here. Chief financial officer or chief financial executive cover routine aspects of finance and accounting. So overall, general management. Okay, chief financial officer or chief financial executive covers routine aspects of finance and accounting, general financial management. Chief financial officer also formulates the policies and plays a key role in financial decision making. So whether in which proposal the company should invest, project A or project B. So this is financial decision making. From which source to raise funds, in what proportion of debt and equity the company should raise additional capital. So these are decisions are made by CFO. Okay, so what I'll do is I will end the meeting here. So if the meeting still exists, you can log in and log out in the, sorry, you can log out and log in the same meeting. If that meeting disappears, I will send you a new schedule. Okay, so you can start logging out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll continue within a couple of minutes.